What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks and predictions video. Today we are going to be covering LFA 184 Diaz versus Lewis, starting with the early prelims all the way to the main event. We're going to preview each matchup and I will give you my prediction on who I think will win. If you're new to the channel, smash that like button and subscribe. And let's get right into it. Starting with Mariana Piccolo versus Taylor Mauldin. I'm going to go with Taylor Mauldin. She's 4-1 as a pro. Yeah, lost her last fight. She got knocked out by Valeska Machado. No shame in that. No shame in that. Her opponent is 2-2 as a pro. 3-2 in her last 5 fights if you include amateur. And she's from Brazil. Mauldin from the United States. Mauldin's a good grappler. She's very tough. She actually came from a combat jiu-jitsu background. She's the favorite at -170. Neither of them have really good striking. Mauldin's tougher and just better overall, which is why I'm picking her to win. On to the next one. We have at welterweight, Luis Francischinelli against Greg Sun. I'm going to go with the heavy favorite at -400. Francischinelli. He's 2-0 as a pro out of Brazil, up against the American who's 1-0 as a pro, but 4-1 in his last 5 fights if you include his amateur run. The Brazilian is a better boxer, a better kickboxer, and yes, does not have as much MMA experience as Greg Black Hole Sun. Black Hole Sun. It's a pretty good nickname. But he's just not as skilled. He has okay grappling. Francischinelli is just so much more dangerous. Odds are a little nuts for this one, given that he's only 2-0, and it's hard. It was hard for me to find even his boxing and kickboxing background before MMA. It takes about 2 minutes to watch a little bit of tape on either of these guys to know who's going to win this fight, and that is going to be Luis Francischinelli. On to the next one. Jake Woodley against Oseyiomon Oiyemhonlan. Oiyemhonlan, 2-2 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights if you do include amateur. He did lose his last fight going up against Jake Woodley, who's 3-0 as a pro, undefeated. I'm going to go with Oiyemhonlan on this one. He's the favorite at -160. This is a very close matchup though. Oiyemhonlan has way more experience as he did go 6-5 as an amateur, but ended his amateur career on a 4-fight win streak. Has a beautiful head kick knockout against a 2-0 guy in LFA, and has a nice first round knockout in his first ever professional MMA fight. I think he's fought better competition as well, and he's a little bit more well-rounded. However, Jake Woodley, very tough, has a lot of power, but can go the distance and take a lot of damage to look for that big shot late. He's a good underdog at +130. Oiyemhonlan doesn't necessarily have the best chin either, but Jake Woodley, in small sample size, only has 1 knockout on his career. But regardless, I'm going with the favorite. We're going with Oiyemhonlan. Moving to the main card. At 125, we have Gilbert Nakatani against Gabriel Gomes. I'm going to go with Gabriel Gomes. 5-0 as a pro, 24 years of age, and he's good everywhere. Striking, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling. He's powerful. He's strong. He's fought way better competition than the 6-1 Nakatani. Great development so far as well. If you take a look at his resume, fought a 1-0 guy in his debut, then 2-1, 1-0, 3-0, 5-4, who he beat in the 3rd round via knockout. Now he's going up against a 6-1 Nakatani, who, other than fighting a 4-0 guy who he lost to on Uriah Faber's A1 combat via unanimous decision, he's never gone up against a guy with an over 500 record as a pro anyways, outside of the amateur scene. So I'm going with Gomes, man. I'm going with Gomes. Nakatani's crushed cans. Took a step up in competition and lost, and I do think he's going to lose this one because this is a step up in competition. We're going with Gabriel Gomes. -225, he is the favorite. Next on the main card, we got Cody Davies against Rodney Kealohi. The captain, Rodney Kealohi, 7-4 as a pro. He is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He is the underdog at plus 215, but I do think he's a very good underdog. This one was tough, man. This one was tough. I'm picking Cody Davis to win. He's the favorite at minus 275, but I do think the captain Rodney is one of the better underdogs on this card because he is a dangerous fighter. Fights out of Jackson and Wink. He has 5 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 1 decision in his pro MMA career. 8-2 is the 29-year-old Cody Davis. He has a grappling heavy style. Good ground and pound, solid submissions, but just not super dangerous as far as ending the fight, getting that finish. Kealohi is more of a striker than a grappler. Like I said, good underdog because he's fought some decent competition and has a lot of knockouts. But I do think Davis is going to win this one via unanimous decision by mostly controlling Rodney Kealohi on the ground. And who knows, maybe land some devastating ground and pound. Next, we have Lerryan Douglas against Nathan Ghareeb. Nasty Nathan Ghareeb is the favorite in this one. But you know what? I'm going Lerryan Douglas. He's the underdog at plus 230, and he's the underdog who I'm the most confident on this card. So confident that I'm picking him and I'm betting on him to win this one. Very sound technique. Don't judge him based off his 9-5 record. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights coming off a win. Very good power, very well-rounded. Has fought very good opponents as well. He's not a wild brawler who makes big mistakes being over-aggressive, which is what Nathan does. Guys, again, watch the tape. It will take you 2 minutes to determine who the better fighter is. That's it. And I know anything can happen in a fight, but the fact that he is the underdog at plus 230, I don't know if anyone who made a bet on this matchup watched any tape. And you know what? I'll tell you the answer. They did not. They did not. Douglas is going to win this fight. He's going to win this fight. Ghareeb is reckless, man. Nathan is reckless. He also has gotten most of his wins in CES, which is a sus regional promotion, ladies and gentlemen. His stand-up technique is meh. He's got power, and he's got very good submissions. He's strong. I'll give him that. But if this is going to stay on the feet, Douglas is going to piece him up, ladies and gentlemen. Douglas has 3 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, and 3 decisions fighting in ACB and LFA. And again, he's only fought pretty much good opponents. Now, has he crushed some cans on his resume? Absolutely. But what I like about when I see people fight cans is he has crushed them. He's knocked them out or submitted them. Didn't go split decision with them, okay? So I'm going Lerryan Douglas. That is my underdog pick. Moving on to the next one. Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani against Victor Kuiks. Victor Kuiks is 5-1 as a pro. He's out of the Netherlands. He's 30 years of age. 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak up against the 6-2 Jean-Paul, who's 25 years of age. 5-1 in his last 5 fights coming off a win. A beautiful TKO victory. I'm going with Jean-Paul on this one. He's the massive favorite. Minus 575. He's just better all around. He's fought in better leagues. He's fought better guys. He only finishes his opponents as he has 2 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 0 decisions. He can fought in LFA, LXF, and has even competed in some combat jiu-jitsu himself. And he had a really good amateur career, going 7-0 and actually fighting some guys who were 4-0 and 7-0 on the amateur scene as well. Victor has 3 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 1 decision. Has fought primarily only in UWC, which, hey, it's a growing Mexican promotion, but it's not a high-level Mexican promotion. Lux is levels above it, okay? Levels above it. And his best win has come to a 3-1 guy. He's going to get absolutely smoked. He's going to get absolutely smoked. I'm going with Mufasa Jean-Paul. Co-main event of the evening, we have Chase Gibson against Javier Reyes. I'm going to go with Javier Reyes on this one. 17-3 as a pro for Javier Reyes. He is the slight underdog at plus 110. 5-0 in his last 5 fights up against Chase Gibson, who's 13-6 as a pro, 34 years of age. Reyes is 30, by the way. Reyes Colombian, but fighting out of Las Vegas. The American Gibson's fighting out of LA, 4-1 as a pro on a 2-fight win streak. 5 KO, TKO, 5 submission, 3 decision for Gibson, 2-1 in LFA. He lost his fight on Contender Series. Went back to LFA for 2, beat 2 really good opponents, lost to a 6-0 guy, then went to UNF and crushed cans, ladies and gentlemen, where Javier Reyes in his last few fights has looked nothing short of spectacular. El Spectacular. 6 KO, TKO, 7 submissions, 4 decisions. 5-0 in Combate Global. 4-0 in LFC. And 1-2 in Combate Americas. And he's on a 7-fight win streak right now, where he beat a 7-3 guy, 13-9, 7-3, 9-5, 7-2, and 2-1, and 6-4 in that run. 6 out of his 7 last wins have been finishes, by the way. And he didn't crush cans. Combate Global and Combate Americas is solid as well. Look, Gibson is tough as nails, but his last 2 fights were against way lower competition than what Reyes is fighting. I think Reyes is going to finish him. There's another good underdog for you guys in the co-main event. Last fight on this card, main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ozzy Diaz versus Bevon Lewis. Bevon Lewis, 7-4 as a pro, but 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's on a 2-fight losing streak up against Ozzy Diaz. These guys are light heavyweights, ladies and gentlemen. Ozzy Diaz, 8-2 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He got knocked out by Joe Pyfer on his Contenders Series fight, but came back strong with a knockout of his own. Flying knee against Chuck Campbell, a 6-3 cat, or now a 6-3 cat in LFA. They're both 33 years of age, and I'm going with Ozzy Diaz. He is the favorite at minus 260. He's just more hungry, man. He's more hungry. He's very, very dangerous on the feet. Fighting out of MMA Kings. 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 0 decisions. That's what you like to see. 2-0 in Bellator, 3-0 in LFA. Before fighting Joe Pyfer, he actually took out some really good competition, and he finished every single one of them, and 4 to 5 of them in the first round as well, whether it was a knockout or a submission. Pretty good amateur career, going 7-2 as well. Man, I'm excited for this one. He only wins via finishes. He's fought great fighters. He will definitely be on the UFC's radar again, or still on the UFC's radar if he wins this one. Either on their list of guys to get the short notice call and sign that 4-fight deal, or maybe have another run in Contender Series. Bevon Lewis, the UFC rushed him. It's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. It's as simple as that. The UFC rushed him, okay? 1-3 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, 2-0 in Contender Series, 0-1 in PFL. He had 3 pro fights, okay? Beat a 2-1 guy, 1-0 and a 2-1 in XCC, House of Frame, and in LFA. Got a knockout against one of the Urbina brothers in Dana White's Contender Series. Didn't make it, went back to LFA, won a decision. Had a beautiful knee knockout victory in the first round of Contender Series when he was 5-0. Comes into the UFC, loses 3 out of his 4 fights in the UFC, goes to PFL, loses PFL fight. Now he's 33 years old, rushed, terrible development, and he's going to get knocked out in this one. Those are my picks and predictions for this LFA 184 card, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know yours in the live chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.